So I've been working on my Princess Serenity cosplay for a while, and I've been struggling finding a template or an example of the sleeves that I actually liked. So after a few trials and errors, I think I cracked the code, and I'm going to share the information with y'all because that's how we do as cosplayers. So yeah, I'm gonna show you how I made the sleeves for my Princess Serenity dress, and here's what you're gonna need. Your fabric of choice, some interfacing. This is iron-on interfacing, but I know there's a sew-on version you can also use. Measuring tape, scissors, pen and paper to make the pattern, elastic here, your elastic thingy, I don't know what it's called. You're gonna need a lot more than this. I'll give you the measurements. And optional, but I recommend something to make like the yellow detailing in the sleeves. So I decided to use pearls, yellow pearls, and I'm also gonna add some white pearls. And before anybody panics, I bought this $10 at Michael's, this whole jar. But if I had a coupon, it would have been cheaper. So this is what I'm gonna be using. I'm gonna show you what I did. The first thing I'm gonna show you is how to make this poof sleeve. Now, keep in mind, I'm gonna show you the instructions to make one of them, but you just do everything times 2 because you need one for each arm. Okay, so we're gonna be making 2 of these. So the key measurement you're gonna need is gonna be called M throughout this part of the process. You need to measure around here, like the upper arm, and note that number down. For me, it was 12 inches, so that was my base number, but you note whatever it is for you, and then you note it on your piece of paper. So whatever measurement you have, you note it here. And when you cut out the fabric, you're gonna cut out 15 inches. That's including already the seam allowance, so you don't need to add anything else. This is already including the seam allowance. You're gonna do that measurement, 5 inch, and then you're gonna replace M with your number and add 3 inches to that. And that's gonna add the poofiness to the sleeve. And once you do that, you fold it over like this. You see, you fold it over, and then you have a little tube here where the elastic band is gonna go in. And then the elastic band, you're gonna take your measurement and remove 1 inch. And what that does is that it makes the elastic, how can I explain it? You know, it gives that stretchiness to the elastic, and that's what's gonna hold it together on your arm. So once you do that, you know, fold it over like I previously showed you, and then you sew it all around on both ends. You do the same thing, and then you add the elastic inside, and then you sew it closed. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't think I would need to film all this until I realized that, like, wow, I was doing a thing. So I closed it shut, and then I hand sewed this part once the elastics were in, and then you have a cute little thing like that, and you repeat the whole process a second time, and then you have 2 bases. So that part is done. So when I first made this pattern, there was some details missing. By the way, for the circle size, you can make it however big or small you want it, but for this one, I made it 5.5 inch in diameter. So now you have that information. But the circle itself was missing some details. I retraced the circle like this. You see, I retraced it on a second piece of paper and added this little tail part here, which is going to be important for later on in the process. And then I took that and traced it onto my interfacing. Now, if you're going to be using the glue on interfacing, it's important to remember that there's one side that has the glue. So, and we're going to be making 2 of these. So you need to cut this twice and have like the sides flipped over. Otherwise, you're going to end up with like 2 of the same. And that's not really what we're looking for. So now you have that. Glue or sew this piece in, and then we're gonna, you know, do the thing. Yes. So let me try explaining this like one more time. What you're gonna do, you have your pattern, you're gonna glue the interfacing onto the fabric and cut it up. Once that's done, you're gonna trace the shape on the, like, I could see through it. So what I did is I put it one on top of the other, and I drew it on the interfacing side. That way when you do the sewing, you're not going to see the markings. So I drew the pattern on the interfacing side, and then here I cut it open and then overlap the pieces a little bit like this. And when you interlap it, what it does, is that once you stitch it, it gives you like a nice little like dome-y shape. And then you have to do this 4 times, yay! So I'm like almost there. After I reach the part where I have to make these little flap thingies that are going to be attached to the sides of the circle, and from tip to tip, it measures 4 inches. So I use that on the interfacing and then glue it up on the fabric and do this times 2, so you have one for each sleeve. And now it's time to try and sew everything together, and after that I'm gonna add the birds. So the bottom section here was already entirely covered with yellow pearls, but it was getting too heavy. So what I did was I tested it out with a foam piece to see if I put a foam underneath, would it hold its shape better? And it does, but it still made the bottom part too heavy. So what I did was remove all the golden like yellow beads, removed all of them, bought some white craft foam to put it underneath because it is still kind of see-through, and I'm gonna be remaking this out of the white foam. I'm gonna glue it underneath, and all the yellow details that are supposed to be here, I'm just gonna paint it on because it was just not holding its shape, and it was not like shaping up the way I wanted it to. So that's what I'm working on right now. I already traced the pattern down, like the mirrored version, on the first piece of craft foam. And then after, what I did was that I took my pattern, I don't know if the camera's gonna pick it up, but you see these holes, so I put it down, poked some holes with a needle so it would give me like a place to like trace on, and then I just retraced the pattern. I'm gonna cut it and glue it together and put it underneath this thing. So yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. Hey guys, sorry there isn't much light. It is currently 8:05 p.m. But I'm just gonna explain to you what I did. As you can see, I cut the pattern out of foam twice, and I glued the foam piece together for it to hold its shape, and then I just placed it on the fabric portion and cut around the edges and adjusted it until it fit properly, and just glued it on top. Now it's all trial and error. You see these holes here? Holes like these means what? It's trial and error. So sometimes you just gotta take some, where is it, leftover foam, and you just squeeze it in there, and then you can just fill in the gap, you see. And then when you flip it over, nobody gonna see anything, and it's really sturdy, and you can just flip it around and it still holds its shape. Like, wow guys. And then you take that and you sew it into place on your base, and as you can see, I'm gonna try and show you guys. Give me a second. Filming this one hand is not easy. So I sewed it through this fabric and through the foam and back into the fabric, and I went on the loop a few times on the top and on the bottom, and on the top and on the bottom on this side as well. And then once I was satisfied with how everything was holding together, just added a few spots of hot glue around just to hold everything together, and your sleeve is complete. Now I'm gonna figure out how to do this later, how to fix it properly. Probably gonna hot glue it some more and then paint on the golden details, as I mentioned before. I hope I mentioned it before, but anyways, that's the plan. So I'm just gonna fix those edges, those little frou-frou things. I don't want them. I'm gonna figure out a way to hide them, and then it's gonna be all done. But so far, the base as it is complete. So yeah, one down and one more to sew into place, and then I can go to bed.